Hi everyone, my name is Nadia Halim and I'm the marketing manager here at the Joyce. It's my honor to be speaking with these folks to talk about Martha Graham Dance Company's very exciting return to our stage. So I'm joined today by Artistic Director Janet Eilber and dancers Lloyd and Marzia. Janet, I'll begin with you with a question about navigating and leading the company, especially in its 96th anniversary season, no less, through the digital sphere. So, in this past year, the company maintained a very robust digital programming with bi-weekly Martha Matinees and Grand Fest 95, which was a virtual festival that was held late April of this past year. So in delving into the archive and reimagining works for the digital stage, are there any discoveries that you now are carrying forth to your return to live theater?
We really got a huge shove in the middle of our lower back into the digital world. We had quite a substantial following on social media, and we'd used a lot of digital stuff on stage, actually, and that sort of thing. But with the pandemic, we really needed to find a way to stay connected with our dancers who are all over the world and to stay connected with our audiences. So we just started trying stuff. The Martha Matinees were weekly, and starting in April of 2020, just pulling things out of our archive, doing a live chat. We did an Ask Us Everything every month. We did our studio series digitally. The dancers were doing interviews with each other. Our YouTube channel expanded, and we started a Patreon channel as well for members to sign up, almost like Netflix or something, to receive content that would fund us, basically, allow us to give our dancers more work. We're proud that we kept our dancers 100% on their health care throughout the pandemic, and gave them quite a bit of work digitally, which was really not easy. But in terms of keeping it, yes, of course, we were able to expand our audience considerably. Our school operated via Zoom for almost an entire year, and gathered quite a new student body from around the world who couldn't travel to New York and maybe never could, not just the pandemic. It's difficult to come to New York and be a student at the school. So we'll be keeping that aspect as well. We're still just emerging out of the pandemic, so we're still kind of discovering how much of the digital we can keep as we return to live and how they will enhance each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think specifically to a quote that you mentioned in a previous interview with the Times about how immersing the audience into the body of the dancer is a perspective that you found in creating these new digital works. So I'm wondering, how that is going to carry forward in future reconstructions and future reimaginings of how you may or may not orient the audience in different ways for the stage.
I think, even before the pandemic, we were all about different points of access and letting the audience into as much as we could, to the Graham legacy, the archival stuff we have, but also to the lives of these incredible athletes and artists. People really don't realize what it takes to be an artist on the level of these dancers. So all of that, I think, is context and important background for our work. It's not like we want to have mystery to what we do. We want to invite people in and to be able to do it digitally, as well as when we're in the theater. We do a spoken introduction to all of our programs, which doesn't require digital anything. That's just talking to people. So it's really important to us to have all of the various ways we can let people in.
Graham particularly, I think, was kind of at the forefront of maintaining that connection to both your audiences, your students, your dancers. I think to the Graham artist interviews that I believe both of you were a part of. So yeah, that brings me to my next question for you two as dancers and as performers. a lot of people are characterizing these past 19 months as a lost year, which I think for dancers speaks poignantly to lost premieres, to lost opportunities, to especially the loss of the studio space and the stage. So I'm wondering how, with the intensity, both physically and mentally, that is demanded of you as gram dancers, how you maintained that connection throughout the pandemic.
So, yes, it's right when you say a lost. I would say, yes, we lost premiere, we lost, I'm not going to say opportunities, because I think each one of us, because we are, I think, amazing artists, each one of us, each dancer of this company, had great opportunities even during the pandemic. Of course, it's not the premiere at Joyce or City Center or Paris Opera or wherever, but still I think each one of us has a good opportunity which led us into discovering other things also. In general with them, like teaching. We discover how beautiful is teaching, which probably keep doing what we do. We are so busy all the time, then we can't really have time to teach, or to do other stuff. So definitely I lost, but not as much, I'll say. And also, I think 19 months is a long time, right? It's been a long time, and sometimes you're wondering, like, am I still able to do what I do? I have forgotten how to be on a stage, But I think it's been also, yes, a questioning period, but also right now, I can say, after 19 months, a refreshing period. Like, you approach the stage and the work and your colleagues, the relationship in such a new way. It's like your first time again, which I think it's vibrating, it's like a new excitement. I'm not gonna say before it was becoming a routine, because personally I'm never gonna get tired of this life. But sometimes, you're always there, always the rehearsal, and then you do the show, and then you travel, and then you do it again. So it could become a routine, and right now it's just refreshing. So I'd say there are pros and cons of this 19 months.
I kind of see it as, I was thinking about it last night, and it's almost like if you have an injury and you have that time to really think about what you can't experience for that moment in time. And it was very much like that for me. But I feel like for the arts in New York, it's refreshing in that way. Everybody is going through the same thing, and you feel the energy. And I've seen other shows happening, reopening around the city, and you feel the energy, and it's exciting because everybody is there to witness the arts coming back to life and live dance. And yes, it's sad that we couldn't do City Center and have certain premieres, but I also feel like it gave us a new love for our art form and the company and our directors and other artists, and just, to bring it back.
Yeah, that energy, I feel it especially here at the Joyce every single night. It's so palpable. People are on their feet just with the sheer joy that there are dancers in front of them in their three-dimensional form again. And that takes us to this week, your new season at the Joyce. And I wanted to talk a bit about the number of new artist commissions that are on the stage, including Pam Tanowitz, Lisa Monte, Andrea Miller, and Sir Robert Cohen. So Janet, in the company's ongoing practice of commissioning, what drew you to this collection of choreographers?
Well, the pandemic really influenced this collection of choreographers. In general, I look for choreographers who are quite different from Martha Graham. We don't want something Graham-esque. We want something that's very new, that's very much of today, very much of the voice of the individual creator. So that, in general, guides my commissions. And that's why I reached out to Andrea Miller over 2 years ago, because Andrea had started her work for us in January of 2020 and was about 65 or 70% of the way through it when everything shut down. And her palette, these beautiful dancers, went to all the corners of the earth and forgot what had been done, as did Andrea. And when she came back 3 weeks ago, the world had completely changed, and she started this commission really anew, borrowing some of the material that she had created, but really coming at it from a completely different direction, which I admire so much, because there it was visible, it was palpable, as you say, how the outside world molds what the artist creates. And so the work that's on stage now, Scavengers by Andrea Miller, which we premiered here at the Joyce on Tuesday, is totally of the moment, even more resonant because of what we've all just experienced. Some of the others of the Elisa Monte and Sir Robert Cohen are works from the past. Both of those artists are Graham Company alumni, but they went off in their separate directions. And I think the way that they resonate with our legacy and yet have created works that speak to today's audience is important for our longevity and for our history, as well as for showcasing what today's dancers can do. And then Pam Tanowitz, we premiered that work here at the Joyce before the pandemic. Again, having to do with our legacy. Pam has a totally different voice from Martha Graham, but she also is an artist who borrows material and honors the past and history by drawing from it. She borrowed a lot of Graham movement and wove it into the piece that we're dancing, which is titled Untitled Souvenir, and but totally transformed it into her style. And so each one is different, but I'm really pleased with, though they're each different, how they really speak to what we've all just lived through.
Yeah, as an audience member, there's a very playful, interactive experience with watching within one program as you're sitting at the Joyce, classic works of Graham and these contemporary imaginings and sort of samplings of either the Graham technique or the Graham ethos of intensity and breadth of human emotion. I'm wondering, as dancers who performing many of these works in a single program, what that's like for you to go between the two. If you see them as a trajectory, or do you see them as two separate entities that you're able to tap into as you go from piece to piece, Graham to a more recent work?
For me, I feel like they're all connected. As Janet was saying, Pam drew a lot from the Graham history and the steps, so I can connect to that very easily. But also, it's the same way we approach the Graham work as far as, let's say, like our dance acting. We have to be very present, and everything has its timing. And the same thing for Pam. We were rehearsing, coming back, preparing for the Joyce, and at some point she stopped us and she was like, you guys have to give each thing its moment and feed off of each other, or else it's just going to read as random steps and we're just going through the motions. So, that's just one example of how I feel like it all comes together and it all has its legacy.
Right.
Well, definitely see it. They are connected. But what I was thinking yesterday after doing, steps, which is such a powerful piece, Graham piece, and then you go into Pam. Okay, for me it was like steps into Pam, and I had 5 minutes to just, recenter myself. And the hardest thing, I'm not gonna say it's the dancing part, because as I said, we're beautiful, we're amazing, like we can really do a lot, And I'm owning, I'm saying you should own this because we guys are, why not say it for real? But it's the energy that you put in the piece. Like you step out from steps in the street, which you are up here, right? And then for Pam, yes, you are. Yeah, you are excited, but it's a completely other energy. You need to go down and open up more. You need to interact with the others, which yes, in steps you do. You are connected with your ladies, but you don't interact with them. It's not such a direct interaction. And then I had 15 minutes to just get changed and step into treading the Elisa Monte. And again, I wasn't scared or preoccupied by the choreography in itself, but about my energy, my own state of mind. Because right there, I have to just go even, because I know myself, I have to go even more low, like get really centered and grounded. So for me, the hardest part is this changing of energy and, your own thoughts. But yeah, they're connected, and I think we really do a great job with
I think it takes practice.
It takes.
The women often have to change their hairdo, change their costume. Sometimes there's no other piece in between the two pieces they're dancing, and they just have to, during that time, also change their interior life to match the movement and the mood of the work that they're about to do. But it takes practice. It's as Lloyd said, Pam had to come back in and say to everybody in rehearsal, now wait a minute, you're doing the movement, but that's why we rehearse. Right?
Exactly.
And sometimes, actually, I was thinking about it the other day, the way the program is mapped out, sometimes the emotional feeling that you get from each piece, at least for me, it's lined up in the way that I'm feeling. So yesterday for me, I started with Pam, and had that perky feeling, or what I get from it, and then I had to drop down, and that kind of faded, and I was in the mood for treading. So it lines up for me.
Yeah. People always talk about pre-show rituals. I'm just curious, with this very quick turnaround, if you have any post-show, post-piece ritual that you give to yourself, so you can step into a piece, a new dancer, or
Well, makeup time is always a very special time for myself, but then I also have this thing where I like to walk around the stage, and I'll go over every step that I have to do depending on what I'm about to perform. So that has stuck around. That and the makeup routine, for sure.
Makeup definitely is the moment where you really get ready, you look at yourself, you're gonna talk with yourself in the meantime. You're like, yes, you can do this. And then I have this ritual, which is just staying in one of the wings, usually like the farthest up, like the fourth wings, and just lie down and do like at least 6 to 10 deep breaths. Which helps me a lot. I'm really breathing, and I can really go over steps. Like for me, I'll get just stressed. It's when you get prepared for an exam, you're not just gonna learn 5 minutes before what you've missed. Like you just have to do it and go. So I just get ready internally, and then whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen. I'm in control of it, not part. So
also, this season in particular, we've also been doing a lot of group circles and breaths together, and that's been helping us before each piece. Just to reconnect with everybody, and we're back together on the stage and just come together as one.
Yeah, that group energy, that dynamic is very evident, on stage, and also as you all are existing in and around the Joyce. I'm also thinking, while you have the company members here, you're going to be welcoming in a new set of dancers on Saturday for the Future Dance Festival. So I'm wondering, Janet, if you could speak a little bit about that particular collaboration with the 92nd Street Y, Harkness Center, and the dancers that will be performing on Saturday matinee.
Well, in general, the Graham organization really likes to look to the future. I mean, we have this huge legacy of the past, but Martha Graham was really all about the future. So we try to keep that in mind with our new commissions and with what we put on stage. And every time we're at the Joyce, we turn a matinee over to the next generation. And usually it's students. Usually we do our university partners showcase where students come from all over the country to dance grand works on the stage. But this year we partnered with the 92nd Street Y. I was on their assessment panel for a wonderful festival of new works last spring. And I was so impressed with the level of talent that I stayed in touch with Taryn Russell, who's in charge of the Harkness Dance Center at the Y. And when I realized that we had a Saturday matinee, but it was too early in the year to have students, and the pandemic meant that universities maybe were not quite ready, I talked with Taryn about showcasing some of the finalists from that dance festival. It was a digital festival, so not all of the dances were made for the stage, but those that were made for the stage, we invited to come and dance at the Joyce. So it's an eclectic group of terrific young voices, choreographic voices. Many of them from the New York area, but a couple of international as well. And solos, duets, one group work for 7. So we're hoping, people really want to get a feel for what the next generation of choreographers is doing. Come and see our Saturday matinee.
No, it's always a special occasion whenever Graham Group visits the Joyce to see the legacy of Martha Graham and to see a bit of a glimpse into the future of both the company and how you are all shaping the dance world. So thank you so much for joining me today, and thank you for what you're presenting on stage this week. Thank you for joining us as well.
Thank you.
Bye.